Oh, okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Kyle Not Kyle Show. I'm Kyle.
I'm not Kyle.
And welcome to our Week 4 recap and Week 5 preview. We apologize for not being able to do a video last week. There were some technical difficulties with our account, so we got that squared away. So we're just going to dive right in.
Stupid Microsoft.
Right, gosh. So we are, after Week 4, I went 3-2. He went 2-3. So I've closed the gap on him. I'm now only one game back. I am 13-11 overall. He's 14-10. So we're gonna get started with the Thursday night game. Philadelphia Eagles walked into Green Bay and walked out with a win, 34-27. This was a fun game to watch. I enjoyed watching it.
My takeaway from that game was: are the Eagles that good, or did the Packers lay an egg?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I don't know. I would need them to play 2 or 3 more times to be able to make that distinction.
Yeah. Well,
I've got the Eagles taking that division, but I don't have them going 10-6 or 12.
Yeah.
And I have the Packers taking that division, and I do have them going like 10-6 or 12-4.
Yeah.
It's like
the one thing for me that was the ultimate to set the tone for the game, and I said this live watching it. So there was 14 minutes and 4 seconds left in the second quarter. It's 4th and 7 from the Philly 12. Aaron Rodgers is at home, and you settle for 3. When your defense had stopped them the entire first quarter, and I think held them for most of the second quarter, and you settle for 3 at home. To me, that was a weak call. That was a new head coach not trusting his offense. That to me, I just look at it.
Yeah, but didn't they end of that game lay an egg on 4th and something near the goal line?
The Packers
offense. Yeah, they didn't have a run game.
Well, yeah, because their running back got his head near taken off.
No, that was the thing the one glaring deficiency in that game to me was the Packers offense was almost completely centered around Rodgers throwing the ball, which is normally not a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not going, oh no, Tom Brady has to do this or Drew Brees has to hand the ball off. But you also go, if you don't have a running back, it's going to be a little easier to adjust your defense. And I think that's what happened too.
At this point, they still had a running back, I believe.
And Wentz, that guy, I tell you, one game I'm watching him and I'm going, you're just not that good compared to everybody else. Then other games I'm going, oh, it's going to be him and Mahomes. That's the future. Yeah. And then the next game I'm like going, oh man, they need to probably think about getting another quarterback. And then the next game I'm going, oh, he's going to be the MVP of the league. It's like, I can't imagine being an Eagles fan with that. It's like,
right.
But it was a good game.
It was a good game.
I think the best game to me of the ones that we watched was Cowboys Saints, but this was right up there. I mean, it like there's 1 and 1A, not 1 and 2 to me.
There were some ugly hits early on in the game. The first one to the punt returner, I was fine. I was fine with there being no ejection or anything on that one because it was an incident. It was clearly incidental because he was just going to tackle him as the punter lowers his head because he's completing the catch. So I had no problem with them, throwing the flag, but not, throwing the player out of the game. The second one, though, with Derek Barnett, I had a huge issue with that not being called an ejection. The runner's progress was clearly stopped, and that is in fact, they even said that is the one time when a runner becomes defenseless, when his progress is stopped and his back is turned towards where he has to go. And Barnett just flew in there, helmet first. I really was very surprised that was not an ejection. I do believe they said it won't warrant a suspension, but he will most likely be fined.
That's the part that always bothers me. That always bothers me. We're not going to throw a flag, but we're going to take your money. It's like, okay.
No, they did throw a flag. They just didn't eject him.
Right.
So it was still a hit.
Right, 15 yards. I can
or whatever.
okay, so I can come in one hit, maybe take this guy out of the game, and it's 15 yards.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get fined a game check.
Yeah.
I believe if they get ejected, that's a game check.
I do believe it is.
That's a much bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
You talk that's perfect about that.
Gosh. I don't think he'll be playing ever again. I think he's
sure he will.
Not worth it. Not worth it in my opinion. His history. What was it? I was reading? He's been suspended a total of 22 games and has been fined over $4 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had $4 million to be fined. So Eagles get the win on Thursday Night Football. Moving on to a AFC North matchup. You and I were both wrong. We both picked the Ravens to win at home.
We were both wrong on the Packers-Eagles game.
Yeah, we were both wrong quite a bit.
I enjoyed the Browns-Ravens game. That to me was the most enjoyable of all the games I watched.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time I went, okay, the Browns are getting their wheels.
Yeah. Yeah. They're starting.
They played well against the Rams.
Yeah.
And it was Rams defense. I'm just going, okay, it's the Rams defense.
Yeah.
And they did okay. They didn't do spectacular. And this game in Baltimore, this looked like a home game of theirs.
Right.
And Baltimore, I think, I'm not going to say they were overhyped, but I do know the first two games they played Miami and the Cardinals. And then it was somewhat close in Kansas City. But this wasn't really close.
No.
This was, and you can always chalk it up to, it's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that close.
Yeah.
In the game. And I was going, okay, now, because I have the Browns taking that division handily.
Yeah.
So I'm like going, okay, good. Maybe this is the Browns. Because I think I had them at 2-3 at week 5.
I think so.
I didn't have them coming out of the gate at like 6-0 or anything like that. I had them picking up speed. And I'm like, okay, good. Hopefully this happens. Because they play again against the Niners this week.
Which one of the, my gosh, we talk about him. Whenever you talk about the Browns, you always talk about him. But you really have to. Nick Chubb is such a beast. On 20 rushing attempts, he had 165 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh yeah,
he's fun. He was fun to watch at Georgia. He's fun to watch.
He's a hard runner. He's a violent runner.
He is.
I mean, I love McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But McCaffrey's more like a Marshall Faulk.
Yes.
Roger Craig.
Yeah.
Kind of guy. Chubb's more like a Walter Payton. I mean, if I'm going to make it old school, like I'm going to lower my head. I can run outside and outrun a lot of guys, but I prefer to lower my head, knock you on your ass just to give you the look so I can see the look on your face when you're going, that guy shouldn't have knocked me on my ass.
Right. Lamar Jackson, the first thing that jumps out when I like, just because I don't always follow it during the game, I go back and I look at stat lines and stuff, which I'm on. Stats are not the end all be all, but they do play a big part. He had 3 touchdowns and threw for 247 yards. So I'm like, okay, good. But then you look at the other 2 interceptions, and he was sacked 4 times. Now, sacks, especially with guys like him who are the more mobile quarterbacks, sack numbers, I discount them a little bit more just because they are moving around. So, you can walk into a sack sometimes when you're trying to escape. I think there's a little bit of a comeback down to earth for the Ravens, which they needed because, like you said, yeah. Well, we were 2-1. Yeah, your 2 wins are against.
Oh, they were 2-0. Now they've lost their 2 last games.
Yeah.
They lost against
yeah.
and they lost
You faced the 2 worst teams, and now you're facing 2 of the better teams. One of them top tier, the other's still kind of unknown.
People have the Browns. The other thing is people have the Browns taking that division. It's not like the Browns or the Bengals. Nobody's had the Bengals taking that division, but there are people such as myself who believe that the Browns are going to take that division.
Yeah. Well, and I only went with the Steelers just because they had Roethlisberger, and now they don't. So I'm like, well, forget that. If the Ravens lose to Pittsburgh on Sunday, they will fall to 3rd in the AFC North.
Yeah, but it's still early.
It is.
And they do going to play Cincinnati twice.
Yes. But so do the other 2 as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Moving on to the NFC North, Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. Bears win 16-6 or 17-6.
Vikings have problems.
Oh yeah, and the number one problem is at the quarterback position with $84 million guaranteed. Yeah, he, like I told you, and I'm going to read this. So I was, this is from Mike Freeman on Bleacher Report. I was reading this. He does a column. It's a 10-point stance he does. This is, now that Kirk Cousins has spent more than a season directing the Vikings offense, it's become clear what Washington fans knew all too well. He isn't that good. He isn't terrible. And I love this comparison. Said, but he's a little like stale movie candy that you start eating once the movie begins. It isn't good, but you're too lazy to get up and buy new candy. Plus, the movie is starting, and movie candy is too expensive anyway. So you sit in your seat and eat the stale candy because there's no choice. So here's the money that the Vikings are paying him and the offense. Kirk Cousins, 3 years, $84 million. I believe there is a clause that they can cut him at the end of the season. They'll take on a money hit, but it's not too much because most of the guarantees are in the first 2 years. Stephon Diggs, 5 years, $81 million. Adam Thielen, 4 years, $64 million. Vikings, 31st in passing yards per game, 32nd in passing first downs per game.
Well, I don't disagree with that stat, but we're not in week 10.
No,
we're in week 4.
Yes,
that's where I go. Okay, it's not unheard of for a team to rattle off 8 wins.
Yes, but you also have what most people are considering to be one of the best wide receiver duos in the league at the time, and
I still think it is.
Like I said, Adam Thielen came as close as he possibly could to calling out Cousins, but he didn't.
It also I look at that. I look at that division, just that division. How many yards would Stafford and touchdowns would Stafford have if he had Diggs and Thielen?
Yeah.
How many touchdowns would Rodgers have if he had Diggs and Thielen? As right now, Cousins is behind Trubisky.
And that's saying something.
Who I believe, if I had to actually rate all the quarterbacks, I would rate Trubisky at number 32.
Honestly, yeah, probably same here. Yeah. No, Vikings. I mean, they have a top tier running back. I mean, Dalvin Cook is so
they're a top
good.
Tier team, with the exception of quarterback play.
Yeah.
But I think that will get a little bit more rectified. The problem is, like I said a long time ago, that there's no room for error in that division.
No, there's not.
The Vikings had to have been going, oh, thank goodness the Packers lost to the Eagles.
Right.
They're still in. If the Packers had won, that distance becomes more difficult.
Yeah. Well, the Lions even this year, I was reading, players have started buying into what Patricia was doing, because there was a lot of blowback the first year. They said a lot of the veterans met with him over the offseason and kind of, figured some stuff out with him.
Well,
and
he brought in more guys.
Yeah, and are starting to buy-in.
Because
So that just now it's a
is it
four-way
Trey
race.
Flowers? Is that who they
Yeah.
got?
Yeah,
Okay. You brought in a guy who's been on a Super Bowl team.
yeah.
You're not going to
And
go.
was,
You don't
and
know
was
what
a
you're talking
huge
about.
part of both Super Bowl wins.
Right, but also he didn't. He came from. You take Vince Lombardi out of it, I would say the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
That's where he came from, and the coach that he's under now came from under that. It's going to take a while to transform. I think the Lions.
I
into
agree.
that, but they're going in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Stafford has done. Stafford has done great.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no issues with how he's done. That Bears defense.
That's yeah.
They're
we can
fun.
talk about
they
that
are
all day.
fun
We
to
can do
watch.
26 what is that? 11. We can do 11 hours videos, 1 hour on
Yeah.
each guy. How good they are. Yeah.
Right.
There's no deficiency on that defense.
No. The one
At all.
interesting note about the Bears is Leonard Floyd. He was a late healthy scratch, and the team is saying he is out indefinitely for a personal matter, and nothing else has been said. Post-game reporters kept on asking the other players, and I mean, it seemed like they knew what was going on, but none of them were going to say anything because they all kept directing it back to the head coach. Like, oh, that's a question for the head coach. He's our guy. We're not going to say anything. And like, something's going on. It just seemed kind of weird that they're all being really tight-lipped about it.
Really, you're a New England fan, and you're saying the guys are tight-lipped, and that's a weird thing.
For
I
other
thought
teams,
of
yes.
Anybody, I'd be going like, why aren't you more tight-lipped, you loose lip mouth maniacs?
I'm
You can't
used
even get Belichick to say who his wife is, and she could be standing right next to him. So is that your wife? That's not a football question. Please move on. But she's standing literally right next to you. She has a shirt that says, I'm Mrs. Belichick. That's not a football question. Please move on. I love that, by the way. I love that.
Oh
about
yeah,
it.
I do too. My thing was, it's just I'm not used to seeing other teams being that close-lipped. So it was like, oh, okay, finally learning some stuff, huh?
It'll
yes.
come out at some point.
Oh yeah, it will. So moving on to the Sunday night game,
The defensive
rematch of last year. That was
all defense kicking game.
Yeah.
That was a slugfest. That was
Yeah.
an absolute slugfest.
Yeah.
Both of those defenses, and I made a big shut the door on the Saints until Breeze comes back. I'm still thinking you're going to have to close the door just a little more gently and not slam it shut.
That defense is going to barrel through if you do.
Because the Seahawks were able to put up 27 points on them.
Yeah.
They were able to. I think this was one of those. The Cowboys' offense just got that defense hammered them. Mm-hmm. It's going to be, can they rely on Bridgewater to win them a game? Yeah. I've watched him so far, and that answer is no.
Yeah.
But if they don't have to, and that defense can pull it up, or just giving the ball to Kamara enough times can do that.
Which here's an interesting stat I was looking at. I think one of them would have broke it if I combined their receiving and rushing totals. But if you break it down by just receiving yards and just rushing yards, no individual player had more than Jason Witten had 50 yards. No one else had more than 50. It was like 48, 30, 20, and 10 receiving yards. So that was a heck of a performance by that defense there, being able to do that.
It was a defensive game.
Yeah, it really was.
And that's one of those, I like it because it turns into the who's going to give up a big play. And what I thought was awesome is neither one of them gave up a big play.
Yeah.
It was a no big play game. It came down onto, can the kickers kick field goals? Can we move our guy close enough to that kicker? Because then I also go, they were both dome teams. So there's going to be no no, well, they're not used to a dome, or they're outdoors and they're used to being in a dome. This was like 2 dome teams, 2 long-time dome teams.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like I thought that was a good old-fashioned defensive slugfest.
Oh yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I always do. You know me, defensive guy. I love defensive games. Moving on from a defensive game to just a terrible game. The Bengals and Steelers.
Shocked? What were you shocked?
No, because it's a new head coach, but it's the same old bungles. They cannot perform, and they can't perform even more on primetime games. Honestly, so I have a question for you. Which team is worse, Dolphins, Bengals, or Redskins?
Dolphins. That's not even a conversation, Pete. I do not believe the Bengals will. I think they might win 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Cardinals might win 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be shocked, incredibly shocked, if the Dolphins win 1 game.
Yeah.
I never say this about going 0-16 because I think that's like there's always got to be some level of hope.
Mm-hmm.
But they are getting annihilated.
Yeah.
I mean, just
hey, they held the lead. Okay, they had a lead for 2 minutes. Was I don't know how long it was. Wasn't very long. Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, Steelers. And honestly, good game experience for Rudolph. Yeah.
Oh, I'm pulling for him.
Oh, I am too. I liked him in the draft process. I was really hoping New England would get him. But yeah, I thought that was fine.
It was lopsided.
It was. It really was. And I honestly, I don't think the score would have been any different if it had been in Cincinnati.
I think Cincinnati might have scored another touchdown. That'd have been it. I don't.
Maybe.
Well, there was a couple of. I always hate when teams. I understand the winning aspect of capitalizing on turnovers.
Yeah.
But I also go, a turnover doesn't define how good an offense is.
Yeah.
Or how good a defense is.
Yeah.
It shows how much mental errors you do, or how skilled that other team is on the defense.
Yeah.
I've noticed. I know this when I was watching the Cowboys Saints game. There was an opportunity at one point. I think it was Jalen Smith was going to go I think it might have been Kamara, but tried to hit the ball out of his hand.
Yeah.
Just kind of spun Kamara, and he ran 4 more yards, and he got a first down. That's trying to get the ball. And then the next play, Van Der Esch, the next one, it was like 3rd and 2, and Van Der Esch didn't. I'm going to tackle you.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick my head down in your gut, and I'm going to wrap my arms around. Not trying to strip the ball. I'm trying to stop you.
Nothing ticks me off more than when I see defense more concerned with stripping the ball than tackling the guy. Because 9 times out of 10, the guy breaks the tackle and gets the first down.
But did Kamara break Ramsey's tackle, or did Ramsey not make a proper tackle?
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at with back from our
Woohoo, there we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. We are having wonderful times with this. Our call just dropped in the middle. I was in the middle of talking. Also, I look up and Rob's face is just frozen in the middle of the screen. So, on to our picks now. Yeah, the first game is the Thursday night game. Rams at Seahawks. Rams are 1.5 point underdog. The over-under is 49. I don't know.
I'm taking the Rams.
I have arguments for both teams here.
Yep.
Seahawks at home, but then the Rams wanting to right the ship and prove a point after getting the loss at home to the Buccaneers. I don't know.
You said you were taking the Seahawks?
Yeah.
I'm taking the Rams.
Seahawks. I won't be shocked if the Rams win.
No, that's what I was saying earlier about other than the Colts and the Chiefs. If the Colts beat the Chiefs, I'm going to be shocked. All these other ones, I'm not going to be shocked if I'm wrong. I'm going to be irritated that I'm wrong because my record will drop, but I'm not going to be shocked.
Yeah.
Ravens at Steelers.
That one is Ravens are 3.5-point favorites. I am picking the Ravens just because I honestly feel like that was kind of just a dud and last week, and I think the Browns are coming into their own.
I'm taking the Ravens as well.
You're taking the Ravens as well? All right, and then so after that we have Packers-Cowboys. Cowboys are a 3.5-point favorite. I am taking the Cowboys.
So am I.
All right.
I cannot tell you. I got to tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel dirty taking the Cowboys. I've had to pick them like 4 times so far in at least 3 times, 2 or 3 times in these picks, and it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling.
It's all right. You'll get over it.
No, I won't.
Moving on to the Sunday night matchup, AFC matchup from a playoff rematch from last year. Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs. I love me some Jacoby Brissett, but nah, Colts aren't walking into Arrowhead at night and winning. They aren't walking into them in the day and winning either. I
think they could. I'm not saying that I would be more shocked if the Colts go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs than if the Colts beat the Chiefs in Indy.
Yeah.
If the Colts beat the Chiefs in Indy, I'd be like, oh wow, good, that's good. But I wouldn't be like, what?
Yeah.
If the Colts go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs, I'm gonna be going, what?
Right. And then the Monday night game, we have the 2-2 Browns going in to face one of 3 remaining undefeated teams. Granted, the 49ers had a bye this last week, so they're only 3-0. This one actually kind of surprised me. The Niners are 3.5-point favorites, but I am taking the Browns.
So am I.
All right.
So we got a 1-game swing again.
All right, I can tie it up here. Yeah. Niners have been interesting to watch this year, just because, like I said, how terrible they looked in the preseason. And by they, I mean Jimmy G.
But the preseason is my feelings on the preseason.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
It's a glorified practice game.
Yeah.
What I'm interested, because to me is kind of a put up or shut up for both teams.
Yes.
I think if the Niners lose, which I'm not going to be shocked if they lose. I mean, they took the Browns for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But that makes me go, are they going to beat the Seahawks or the Rams?
Yep.
If the Browns lose to the 49ers, you could go, they just played a divisional rival and then travel clear across the country.
Right. No, I agree.
So it's like, okay, there's a little bit of that, but that's not an excuse.
No. I agree. It is. That's really good. It is put up or shut up for both of these teams. Prove that you are legitimate, or just going to be the same old team. You'll win some, you'll lose some.
Well, it's because next week, Niners at the Rams. We'll be picking that game, and that's one of those. It's same thing. I think next week, specifically next week, Eagles at the Vikings. It's a put up or shut up for the Vikings.
Yeah.
If they lose, they're going to be down. Yeah. It's good. These are some good games.
Yeah, we got good games going on. All right, so those are our picks. We have one different pick.
And if you think you're better than 50-50, go ahead and comment.
Yeah, please.
Comment in the section. Say, hey, I'm 6-4, you losers.
Yeah. All right. So That's our picks for the week. Enjoy week 5, and we'll see you next time.